Ladies and gentlemen, if it's raining, it must be a Norristown Area High School Eagles football game. Hi, I'm Dave Fazzini, and along with Mark Kolodinsky, we bring you another exciting week of hard-hitting, impactful, and soggy Norristown football. And Mark, we're here at Chester today, beautiful accommodations, and why does it always rain when we play?
Wow, I don't know. Every week, the weather's just terrible, and it's got to be tough for the players. Trying to deal with these field conditions, so on and so forth. Sheldon Mayer, of course, he has yet to be in a game this year without scoring a touchdown, so I'm sure it won't affect him too much. But I expect the rain to be a factor because, when we arrived at Chester a couple hours ago, it was just a light drizzle, but at this point, it's going down pretty hard.
The rain is coming down here incredibly hard. It is not quite a torrential downpour, but it's pretty serious. And as Mark said, the weather conditions look to play a big part in today's game. Now, Sheldon Mayer was able to tiptoe his way through the raindrops against Upper Merion in what was actually a torrential downpour, and it didn't seem to slow him down a little bit. So what is Chester going to do today to try to stop him, in addition to hopefully the elements play their way? What are they going to do to stop Sheldon Mayer?
That's a great question. All year, no one's been able to do it, with the exception of Upper Dublin. They're the only team that really held them in check. And so, they got to hope the weather maybe slows them down. I don't know. I don't feel like there's a lot that this defense could do. Maybe the best defense is a good offense. Because this Chester team, they can score in bunches when they get going. It's just a question of if they can get it going. They like to pass the ball a lot. The Eagles have thrown the ball 83 times this year. Chester, 138 for the starting quarterback, Tevin Campbell. And that doesn't even account for his 48 rushes, a lot of which I assume would come out of a scramble situation.
And that brings up a good point about Norristown's defense and what they need to do in order to stop this high-powered Chester offense. Chester's only really lost one game by a significant margin this year, and that was their opening week 37-0 defeat to 12th ranked in the state Cardinal O'Hara. Norristown's not quite the juggernaut that O'Hara is, so in order for Norristown to be successful here today, they're going to have to make sure that their defensive line in particular shows up to stop Campbell and company. Norristown's defensive line has been a bit of an Achilles heel in weeks past, and as of yet, it hasn't cost them games, but Mark, it very well could.
Yeah, and they're all real big guys, out there playing both ways. I feel like that's a factor. Just the fact that they have to play both ways. And they're probably not being a bigger defensive lineman as opposed to like a running back or wide receiver. It's tough for them to do that, to do both ways, and they have to go so hard on every play, or else they get exposed. So I feel like that's a factor that contributes to that, and they gotta make sure that doesn't happen today, because like you said, it could be a real problem.
One of the few defensive linemen who doesn't go both ways is Terrence Edwards, and it's funny because Terrence is one of the few who's able to stay low consistently. Some of these other guys getting blown off the ball, standing up, they're getting tired. But Terrence Edwards, big number 78, he's staying low, and he's really doing a great job this year. Big 65, Marcus Robbins, and big number 63, Nick Bloomer, also look to play key roles in this game. The linemen have to come up big when the weather gods do not smile favorably upon the football team.
Yeah, and they got to get pressure on the pass, because like we said, Chester likes to pass a lot. So stopping the run has to be the first priority, no doubt. But then I expect Roby and or Mayer to have big games from the cornerback position. So I feel like we could be in for an exciting game.
And to start the afternoon.
So as we stand here and face the elements at Chester with the Commodore Barry Bridge in our background, I'm Dave Fazzini, and along with Mark Kolodinsky, we'll be back in a few minutes with some hard-hitting Eagles football.
They are supporters and responsible.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, off in the distance, you can see the historic Commodore Barry Bridge in Chester, the gateway between us and then anyone who wants to go to New Jersey for some reason. But anyway, I digress. We're back here at the beautiful green fields in Chester, Pennsylvania, and as the expert cameraman JJ Natali slowly pans the verdant pastures, we're in for what can only be deemed a heck of an athletic contest between two titanic powerhouses and some confusing music. So here we go. Mark, what's going on?
Senior Day.
Senior Day.
Here at Chester Area Athletic Fields. Actually, Senior Day as we play here on a rare Saturday afternoon as opposed to the usual Friday night.
Right.
But hey, great atmosphere.
Right, great atmosphere. It's senior day. It's the breakfast game. And we're playing Chester again. It's been the first time in eons. Someone mentioned before the game they'd come up here to a little good-spirited trash talking with us, the crew of NASD TV, Channel 28. A little good-spirited repartee, a little back and forth. And they said, we're going to beat you rather badly today. To which we retorted, well, we'll see how it happens on the field. And then they said, it's been like 50 years since we played you. And they said, yes, it has been. So we'll see what happens here today. Norristown and Chester have developed an intense rivalry in basketball. Some experts say that their rivalry in basketball is brought about by the fact that Norristown invented the Zepp sandwich, and Chester claims to have invented the hoagie. Mark, I don't know. You're the basketball commentator for NASD TV. Do you think there's something to the Zepp versus hoagie paradigm?
Definitely. But I mean, that, and just the fact that they were both, they both happen to be powerhouses around the same time. I mean, Chester's always pretty much a basketball powerhouse, but Norristown really came on over the past 2 years, became a district-renowned program. And, a couple playoff games later, and here we are. I mean, we've played them, 5 times or 4 times over the past 2 years?
Yep.
And have some legendary games. I mean, man. And now the rivalry carries over from basketball into football. I mean, when anyone says Norristown and Chester, one word comes to mind, and that's basketball. But today, it's going to be about football, and it's going to be a great, great game.
I have no doubt that it's going to be a great game. And you see the field out there. You see the green grass of Chester's home. You see the good drainage. The field doesn't look too bad. Like, it's not like the Upper Merion game a few weeks ago where we were amazed that game could even take place in the mud, like the La Brea tar pits out there. But this game's seems a little bit better. Seems like the weather might not play as much of a factor.
Yeah, well, the rain actually slowed down, and it's wet, and it's a little on the cold side, I guess. But yeah, I mean, the rain stopped just in time for kickoff. And just to get back to that basketball thing for just a quick second. We got a couple players in this game who have been a part of that rivalry. Sheldon Mayer, he's point guard for the Eagles. Laquan Robinson for Chester, who's their second leading rusher and also one of their top receivers. And Maurice Nelson, brother of Orlando Magic point guard Jameer Nelson. So a couple guys have experienced that, and we know, all the emotions that go into those. So I expect some emotions and some tension to build up on the gridiron as well.
And you know what I noticed? Talk about tensions building up. I noticed a couple unconventional return men back there for the Eagles. Number 27, Brandon Shippen, and number 18, Akeem Boyd.
Akeem Boyd is one of the most exciting special teams players out there. I mean, you don't think of a guy who, is on a kickoff team or in a kickoff returner as being like a major stud. But I mean, Akeem Boyd's just been getting it done this year.
Well, Boyd certainly has done anything you could possibly ask for, and then some. I mean, Boyd is truly a one-of-a-kind player on special teams. But Brandon Shippen, his counterpart back there, has also come up really big in the past few weeks.
Oh, yeah, he just does everything right. He caught a fake punt, broken kind of play from Milo Hill.
Broken, as can be.
He made a big hit on a punt that was ultimately called for a penalty, but we don't know if it was justifiably so. And, boy, he's just really solid. They use him at running back every once in a while. He has a couple carries, and just when he is involved in the play, positive things usually happen. And it's not often is it game breaking, but it's just rock solid. And those are the kind of players those underrated guys that you need if you want to contend in the playoffs. You can't just have the stars. You got to have the supporting cast of guys like that who do everything right.
Well, now, I mean, you brought the P word into the picture, and we got to talk about playoffs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this Eagles team is going. They're ranked in the top 10 right now for the district, for their district for playoffs. They're going, and they, like as you said, have to get more people involved if they're going to succeed.
The opening kickoff is short. It'll come down to number 10, Marcus Harris, and a couple of Eagles, and they drop it. Now Shippen jumps on it, tries to make something out of it, and he's quickly brought down at about the 20. So a short kick, some miscommunication, and the ball never got back to Boyd or Shippen, and the result's not too good for the Eagles.
Yeah, not a great job there for the Eagles. That's not how you want to start. The Eagles' special teams basically counts as their offense too, and they run back a lot of kicks and punts. But that time, that was just a mess. Very scary to see that, especially on Halloween.
Oh, yeah, we got Chester in the orange and black in the spirit of Halloween.
Yep, definitely the spirit of Halloween.
Oh, yeah. And, boy, As if Halloween wasn't enough to scare Chester, now they got to deal with the Norristown offense. Here's Shannon Mayer handing off to Sheldon Mayer. He finds the rim to the outside, and right off the bat, a big gain. Down the sideline he goes. He's past midfield now into Chester territory. And they blow the whistles. The play is dead as he stepped out of bounds at about Chester's 46. So, boy, if he didn't step out, he could have been gone.
If that is a harbinger of things to come for Chester, that is a bad omen on this Halloween.
And if that's a harbinger of everything to come, hopefully we'll hear a lot more SAT vocabulary today.
Believe me, the SAT test results just came out. A lot of people did really well, really solid stuff, getting their University of Pennsylvania applications up to speed. Well, we want to build a rather robust vocabulary, and we aim to describe football in the language of the poets. We want to ennoble the spirit and embiggen the mind.
So the Eagles with a nice gain off the bat, and now Shannon Mayer getting the plays in from the coaches on the sideline. And the Eagles on this opening drive give to Mayer right away, and I expect him to keep going there.
I have no doubt. That's what they should do. He got a huge gain right off the bat, 30-plus yards, so give it to him again, see what happens.
Sheldon Mayer last week was held under 100 yards for, I believe, just the second time this year. Only carried it 15 times, though. Ran for 80 yards, so pretty solid. But, we're so used to seeing Sheldon Mayer have 150-yard games with 3 touchdowns.
I'm going to go out on a limb here today and say that Sheldon's probably going to rush for more than 100 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Now, call me crazy, but I think that's going to happen.
Charles Tibbs in at fullback. Tracy Presley normally there. Roby in motion. And they hand it off to Mayer again. He goes near sideline, the spot that Roby vacated when he went in motion, and they pick up another solid gain with Sheldon Mayer.
He'll have close to 100 yards by the end of this drive.
Yeah, I was just going to say, by the end of the quarter, you could be looking at triple digits.
Maybe quadruple digits. Well, not by the end of the quarter. And quadruple digits mean they'd have to rush for more than 1,000 yards in one game, which is extremely unlikely, to say the least. But it could happen.
Well, also last week, Ant Roby had 6 touches, 5 rushing. There was one drive where they just went to him a lot with the Wildcat and with another play, which we'll get into in a moment. They handed off to Tibbs, who was the lone man in the backfield, and he's got a big gain. He plunges ahead all the way past the 30.
You don't see him get the ball too much, and when you do, it's a pleasant treat. Norristown's usually on the receiving end of those fullback beatdowns, but this time they're doing some of that fullback action on their own, sending Tibbs off tackle. Nice run.
Just his 5th carry of the year. And, well, what they would do with Roby is they'd put him out at wide receiver as usual, bring him in motion back into the backfield, and then hand it to him. And, boy, he was electric. There was one play that kind of makes his stats look bad when they snapped the ball over his head in the Wildcat. He almost did end up making something out of it.
Roby in motion now.
And it ended in a fumble. But it looked good for the most part. Just that one disastrous play, and now Mayer's held to just a 2 or 3 yard gain, and they get to the 25. So, yeah, hopefully we see more of Roby and, used in many different ways.
They'll be close to the first down here.
Yeah.
They do give him the first down as he picks up they're moving the chains. It looks like their strategy is pretty clear. They're going to go to Sheldon until Chester proves that they could stop him, which they won't, so they'll keep going to him. But I want to see Roby get involved. We always talk about it. It does this week after week. We want to see Aunt Roby get involved in the offense. He's too good and too fast, too explosive not to involve heavily.
Just look for any time Sheldon Mayer, not unlike this play, look for when he's in the slot as a wide receiver. That one's almost broken up before the handoff got off, but they do end up getting 2 or 3 yards with Sheldon Mayer.
That was grotesque. That play was doomed from the start. Both guards allowed maximum penetration on that play, and Chester should have had a stop in the backfield.
Second down.
Shannon Mayer only threw the ball 7 times last week. And, I mean, it wasn't like they blew anybody out and just had a grind-out clock. I mean, that game was a 2015 victory for Norristown over Wissahickon. And Shannon Mayer just 4 for 7. Akeem Boyd into the game for Roby, getting a breather, I guess. And they give it to Mayer once again. He's got some room up the middle. He's got 10, plows his way forward. And he ends up with about all the way down to about the 8 with a big gain.
You know, people who think that Mayer's game is just all flashing feet and pretty dance moves, they're sadly mistaken. He ran a couple people over on that play. And Sheldon Mayer is low to the ground, explosive, and much bigger than his 175 pounds would indicate.
Just inside the 10
But boy, the Eagles moving the ball at will in this first opening drive. Once again in the I formation. Hand it off to Mayer again. And he's brought down after a 3-yard gain.
Mayer on the carry.
The only thing that I see potentially emerging as a problem from this reliance on Mayer is when it comes time, Mark, to get to the playoffs, and when you're playing teams of progressively better competition, you can't just rely. You can't be one-dimensional.
Yeah, and plus, you know, as the season goes on and Mayer continues to play cornerback, running back, punt returner, it's going to wear on him a little bit. And he's not a huge guy, so it's even more of a concern. Now they have Mayer in the slot. Tibbs, the only man in the backfield. He gets the handoff, and he's brought down immediately in the backfield for a loss.
I don't like that, going to Tibbs there. Not on that play. They were looking for that, and it was pretty clear that they had their number all the way.
3rd down.
So some bigger guys coming in to the offense now to bring some size with Larry Smith, C.J. Douglas, and Derek Williams all checking into the game. So Eagles showing some different looks.
Probably going double tight here, bringing Larry Smith in the game.
Battaglio in the backfield.
Battaglio in the backfield.
Got kind of split backs with a fullback. That would be Evan Battaglio. Mayer rolls out to his right. Still rolling, and he had nowhere to go as nice pursuit by the Chester defense. Laquan Robinson ultimately finished off Shannon Mayer in that play. Maybe a little bit too fancy, or do you
too fancy, too cute? Don't do that. If you're Norristown, run it up the middle. Now you've got a difficult situation. So you're going to bring on. Looks like you're bringing on the kicking team.
Yes, they are. So this is going to be about a 27-yard attempt to put the Eagles on the board first, and it's kind of disappointing since they moved the ball so easily until they got into the red zone.
Yep.
But if they can come out with 3, you'll take it. You'll take it.
Here comes Fox and Sox.
And these conditions are not exactly conducive to the kicking game.
No.
The snap goes over Hillenbrand's head. Fox will just jump on it. And the Chester Clippers will take over at the 29. So disastrous special teams play. More reminiscent of what the Eagles did in the 08 season than what they've been doing this year.
Oh. Yeah, the 08 season, I mean, I've tried to block that out of my memory. I've tried to have that part of my brain just surgically removed. I've tried to do it myself to surgically remove my own part of the brain that was responsible for remembering the special teams play of the 07-08 season and the 08-09 season. But, man, awful, awful, awful. Just pitiful football right there.
So now we'll see the Chester offense for the first time. Tevin Campbell, the quarterback, likes to run a lot. Takes the snap from the shotgun and tosses it out. And Larry Smith takes him down in the backfield for a 9-yard loss.
Great play by Larry Smith there. He knew what he had all the way. He went for the quarterback, but then took out the quarterback, but contained, and made the tackle. A single-handed slaughter right there. Larry Smith, like the butcher. Larry the Butcher. That's a good, intense nickname right there, Larry the Butcher.
We talk about these guys who could, do different things, these versatile guys on this team, and we just saw Larry Smith at tight end, and now, next thing you know, he's making a huge play in the backfield from the defensive end spot.
Well, now Norristown's defense gets to do what they do best, and tee off and use their speed to get after the quarterback.
Yeah, and it'll be an interesting matchup because we know Eagles have tons of speed and pass rush ability, and great defensive backs with tons of speed. But Chester likes to pass the ball a lot. So,
well, if you're throwing at Roby, I mean, you pick your poison. Are you going to throw at Roby or are you going to throw at Mayer?
And then you got Denolfi Roman, maybe playing some center field out there, more or less.
Roby dares people to throw their way, and we need a pick 6 from him.
Starting to run out of games. They hand it off. That's Anthony Davis, and he's brought down by Larry Smith, who already has 2 tackles.
I hate that call. If I'm Chester, I don't do that. You're getting a little bit back, but at what price? You're giving up a down essentially, and you're guaranteeing that you're going to be in a 3rd and long against a really good pass rushing team. Don't like it.
Maybe they feel like Eagles will be expecting a pass, and they could use some kind of a delay to maybe bust off, 7 or 8 yards.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree with it.
Well, you're right. No, I wasn't saying you said you agreed, because clearly, how could you have agreed with it? Because it was a bad call. But at the same time, I see what you said too.
Campbell back to throw this time. Battaglia all over him, and also Larry Smith trying to deflect the pass away, and it falls harmlessly to the turf, incomplete, 4th and 20.
That's that pass rush I'm talking about. Big 65, 89, they're all in there. Marcus Robbins, Larry Smith, a lot of pressure. Got Battaglia in there too. There's too much pressure, and that was only a 4-man rush from the Eagles. They've got to come better than that. We got Mayer and Denolfi back there returning this punt. If I'm Chester, I don't kick to him.
Well, we will see. The kick is off. It's a short kick, not a good punt at all.
He didn't even get the first down.
There'll be no return on the punt.
And that punt
Norristown
will
ball.
net them
First and
about
10.
15 yards.
Inside the 40-yard line.
I've played games of bocce
Right
where I have had a longer field than 15 yards, and I was able to throw that 15 yards. And in fact, a bowling lane,
First and 10 from
is
the
that longer than
39-yard
15
line.
yards?
For
Those
Norristown.
balls are heavier than footballs, right?
Man, like you said, keep it away from Mayer and Denolfi, but I don't think that's what you're had
That's
in mind.
fear to the point of phobia.
Mayer on the carry, runs into his own blocker's back, and falls forward for a couple.
That punter was literally poleaxed with fright. Like it is a very spooky Halloween prospect to have to punt it to Sheldon Mayer, but I mean, come on, let's get serious.
Brought down by Howell.
You can't punt it 15 yards.
Second down.
Oh man,
Official time.
we have an official timeout. It's 0-0 here. We've played just under 8 minutes. I'm Mark Hodinski, along with Dave Fazzini for NASD TV. Well, we got just a couple games left for the Eagles in the regular season. Of course, they're already officially in the playoffs.
Right.
And, well, they got Upper Moreland, who I'd say is pretty much comparable to an Upper Marion or a Wissahickon or an Upper Dublin. They're right, pretty much, similar.
Right.
They got Ben Salem, who's 2-6.
Yeah.
And then this is the other one. So conceivably could end the season 10-1. 2nd and 9. Mayer with some pressure gets it off, and a diving catch is made by Evan Battaglia.
Pass is complete.
Shannon Mayer is going to have some harsh words for Sheldon Mayer when they go out trick-or-treating later on, because his brother didn't do him any favor. His brother played a trick on him by missing that block. So I don't know.
3rd down.
Battaglia makes just his 7th catch of the year.
3rd and 4.
That block certainly wasn't a treat.
We got a great matchup on the outside between Maurice Nelson and Ant Roby that I'd like to see at some point. Tibbs plows forward, maybe gets 1. So they're going to Tibbs a lot.
4th down.
Yeah, you know what I don't want to see anymore? I don't want to see any more of that dive inside without trying to get the ball outside to Roby or Milo Hill on the outside. I don't want to see them try that stuff up the middle. That's reliant on wide spreads on the part of the defensive line. I don't want to see that until they establish a passing game. I don't want it anymore. Where's Tracy Presley?
So it'll be 4th and 4. Eagles going for it, of course. And they hand it off to Sheldon Mayer. He's got a lot of room. He's got the first down and a lot more. And a great open field tackle made by Laquan Robinson, but not before the first down and a couple more by Sheldon Mayer.
Good play by Sheldon there. Nice blocking by the interior of that Eagles offensive line with McClure and Bloomer on that side. Good job, guys. Keep a nice combo block. Sprung Mayer for good yardage. And a real offensive line. An offensive line is like the manliest position on the football field. Real offensive linemen love the mud, and they love it when it's like this. They want to get their face in the mud. They want to kick the face. It would be bullies. They want to kick sand in the face of somebody and just knock them in the dirt.
Mayer hands it off to Sheldon. He's tripped up in the backfield. That is going to be about a loss of 1. And
All right, that was
Chester
Cunningham on the tackle.
With -7 yards of total offense, Norristown moving the ball well, but the scoreboard still reads 0-0.
Yeah, I don't like this. I want to see a little bit of a passing game.
The loss on the play.
But I don't want to see Norristown put themselves in a position where they have to pick up the first down with a pass. I want to see them just establish something, get Shannon Mayer's confidence up, get him a little 7-yard out, just something quick over the middle, get Battaglio involved. I want to see that early.
So now we're putting Antonofia in the fullback spot in the absence of Tracy Presley. Mayer now drops back looking to throw. He's throwing it deep for Ruby, a jump ball, and it's incomplete. Boy, that's not a great throw decision, whatever you want to call it. As
Third down.
it was pretty much just a jump ball, and I mean sometimes that Ruby's going to come down with them because he's just that athletic. But it's not something you want to try to do consistently.
No, you don't throw that in the double coverage like that. That's the kind of youngster mistake that Shannon Mayer, we thought he outgrew.
He was making last year.
He was making last year. He was throwing some risky Brett Favre type gunslinger balls last year, and this year we thought that he kind of outgrew that. But as we saw in the Upper Dublin game, he still makes some decisions every now and again that make you wonder. But for the most part, I mean, you have to support the young man. He's a really good quarterback.
Oh yeah. But as of now we're gonna have a timeout taken by the Eagles. But do you think it's more making bad decisions, or just executing them poorly? Like if Roby might have a step on his man deep, and he throws it deep and just underthrows him a little bit, and it looks like a bad decision.
No, he's not making. That's not what's going on. He is making bad decisions when he's making some of those throws. He knows that he has a strong arm, but the criticism of Brett Favre has never been his arm strength. The criticism of Brett Favre is he's always been trying to force balls into positions where they have no business being.
Yeah, I think it's a very apt metaphor because I actually agree 100%. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, for the most part, Shannon Mayer's been outstanding, and I mean, he's engineered this 7-1 record more or less. And it's not like he's just handing the ball off to Sheldon Mayer every play. I mean, they've trusted him in some situations. Now, granted, Sheldon Mayer is most of the offense, but it's not like Shannon Mayer hasn't played an integral role, and he's done a great job. And until that Upper Dublin game, 6 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions, and then Khalil Nash showed up and got 3 interceptions for the Cardinals, and now leads the league, tied with Roby and Hill.
Only 3 interceptions.
The invisible man.
The invisible man.
We got some Wildcat with Milo Hill now for the first time ever. Mayer in motion, they fake it to him, and now Milo Hill will run. He goes up the middle and picks up about 3. But there's a lot of things. There's a lot of places you can go with that.
Yes.
You're not a fan.
I'm not a fan of the Wildcat.
Huge
You're
fan.
a huge. This is one of the places where we part company about our football likes and dislikes. I do not think that the Wildcat is a good offense. However,
it's one of the greatest things you can do.
But when we discussed the Wildcat earlier, we were at our pregame feast today was at Atomic Wings in the Woodland Shopping Plaza. Really delicious wings, solid Cajun fries, a really good place with intense beliefs and intense sauce. But as we were talking about the Wildcat offense, I conceded you the point that if they ran it with Hill and sometimes passed, that I was on board.
How about this now? We got 4 wide receivers to the right side. They like to throw a screen into this formation sometimes. Battaglio, Dinolfi among some other guys. They do use the screen. Roby catches it. He makes some guys miss, and his pure athletic ability is able to net him a couple, but even I knew it was coming, and I don't study film.
After the great defensive stand by the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, the pregame preparation we do is mostly just going to restaurants and eating food. But we
we still knew it was coming.
And we still knew it was coming. I mean, that was a bad. Everything about that was bad.
I mean, they are trying to get the ball to Roby, but I know how much you hate that whole wide receiver screen deal. Even with a guy like Battaglio and Dinolfi out there blocking for him, and the threat of Mayer also looming over there, and then Milo Hill on the other side.
The wide receiver screen is predicated that based on the premise that one guy could beat 2, and that rarely happens.
So that'll be a turnover on downs, and the Chester offense will take over. Here's Tevin Campbell. He throws over the middle. He's got his man. That's number 4, Maurice Nelson. That is indeed Jameer Nelson's brother. Of course, Jameer Nelson graduated from Chester High a number of years ago.
Penalty on that one. Looks like it's coming back. Looks like that may be a hold against Chester.
No, but I love that Wildcat. I mean, Milo Hill is one of the backup quarterbacks, and he can throw the ball. And then you still have Roby and Hill at your disposal on the outside. Bring them in motion or whatever. Put one of them in beside Hill in the backfield, and you have them going different ways. You can go to either one of them, or you can just go to neither and come out and throw the ball. Man, there's just so many places you can go. Milo Hill can take off and run.
Mark, I agree. Here's what I don't like about the Wildcat is when 100% of it has to be running. When you throw the football, the throwing component in there, and you have an unpredictable offense that makes defenses have to play off balance, I like it. But when it becomes too one-dimensional, I'm going to snap it to the running back, and he's going to run it. But then you're taking the element of surprise out of the game.
But you like Roby taking a snap, right?
I like Roby taking a snap
because
it gets the ball in his hands.
High snap for Tevin Campbell, and he hands it off. And C.J. Douglas, one of the leading tacklers in the league, is the first one to get there.
There are too few situations in this Norristown offense where Roby's getting the ball in his hands. Ergo, I'm going to like any play that gets the ball in his hands more so than any play that doesn't. However, that doesn't mean that I'm on board with the one-dimensionality of a Wildcat that doesn't have a throwing game component.
Well, we're at the end of the first quarter. Chester has the football right now. It's a tie ball game 0-0 here on NSD TV. But I still disagree. I feel like, first of all, in the high school game, it's so predictable anyway. I mean, the fact that you're going to run the ball a lot, that's just how it is. And secondly, we've seen the Wildcat have some success at the college and pro level with guys that aren't like serious throwing threats. But I guess that's just our difference of opinion.
Well, that's fine, you know. And there could be, as you see off in the distance, there could be a bit of a bridge where we could meet in the middle. We can meet in the middle between the New Jersey. That is your idea, that the Wildcats should be the only offense out there, and my solid Pennsylvania.
So you're saying my idea is small?
No, I'm not saying it. I'm saying it's smaller than Pennsylvania. I mean, if we're making geographical metaphors as we look upon the outstanding pulchritude of the Commodore Barry Bridge, which I believe was built in one of the Works Progress Administration. I think that was a Franklin Roosevelt project right there, Commodore Barry. Look as the sun glints off of its steel girders, and you just can't help but look at that work of nature, and well, not work of nature because it was built by man, but I mean, and be proud to be an American. But yeah, Mark, we'll have to see how the Wildcat plays out in this game.
It's great. I love it.
Okay.
And man, how many different guys could they put back there? They have so many different things they can do.
No, and that's a tantalizing tidbit that only Norristown really can do.
And you know, I said I wanted to see Hill back there, you know, just because he could throw the ball. I didn't think it was actually going to happen, but there it is. I mean, I heard that they were running some of it in practice, and some of the Roby stuff too. I mean, the Roby stuff didn't come out like in masse for quite some time. So I don't know. Maybe it'll start to be more of a staple.
Perhaps it will.
So we have a full starter, perhaps here before the play.
Chester really likes not doing things well.
Right here on NSD TV's sports show. You can watch that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5:30 p.m., Saturday, Sunday, 2:30 p.m. I predicted over 3 Wildcat plays this week, something we haven't seen at all this season.
Right.
But I'm feeling that this is the week.
No, you already got one. No, Mark, I think you have a point there. You could definitely get your over 3 Wildcat plays this week.
And that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
That's a good thing. All right, that's a good
thing. Maybe not in your eyes.
If it gets us points at this stage of the game, if it gets us points, I'm in.
So Tevin Campbell and his offense backed up all the way back near their own end zone, and some pressure by Evan Battaglia, who forces the incompletion intended for Damon Saunders.
I don't know how they get any passing yards.
I mean, their passing games actually had some pretty good success. 7 interceptions has kind of killed it, but you know, Tevin Campbell was thrown for 1,234 yards and 8 touchdowns. I mean, you know, we talk about how good Sheldon Mayer's been for the Eagles. He only has 727 yards. So, I mean, Campbell has about 500 more passing yards than him. And, that's just a testament to how effective he's been when he's not making mistakes and turnovers.
When he's not making mistakes and turnovers, and when this offensive line is doing anything in terms of blocking for him. Norristown's defense, they look like the purple people eaters out there, just getting pass rush, just getting big rush after big rush. Putting them in 3rd and longs like this one.
Tevin Campbell slings it down the field for Nelson. Wow, kid's got an arm. But that one was just out of the outstretched arms of Maurice Nelson.
And you're never going to hear this again. But he had a step on Roby.
And, you know, that's what I said earlier. I said Roby versus Maurice Nelson. You'll see it on both sides of the ball. You know, with each of them being the receiver, each of them being the cornerback. And it's a great, great matchup because Maurice Nelson is very fast. You know, he's got that NBA blood in him.
Yeah.
And he's a heck of a basketball player, too. Roby's not no slouch on the hardwood either. But now the Clippers have to punt.
It's a perfect time for a safety.
They bring everybody trying to block it, and the punt goes straight up, better than the last one. Actually, a decent kick, and it'll bounce forward all the way to about the 47 or the 43-yard line. And the Eagles will take over with great field position. And boy, Chester's offense has been nothing more than abysmal.
No, abysmal at best.
How many yards do they have? Negative 17?
Negative 20, yeah. No, their offense is anemic.
So what are they going to have more today, punt yards or total offense?
Well, so far, punt yards is winning big. They have 55 total punt yards, and they have on 2 punts, one of which was 15 yards. So they have 2 punts for 55 yards, and their offensive drives have netted about negative 20.
One man in the backfield, that's Mayer. He gets it, and he'll run forward for a nice solid chunk of yards.
Chester's playing an effective bend but don't break defense here, but it's going to break because if Mayer keeps pounding away at him, it's going to break.
You know, the thing we've seen sometimes with Norristown is they rely so much on the big play, you know, where they need Sheldon Mayer to break away for a 55-yarder to score, and they do it so consistently that they almost can rely on it. But here, we haven't even seen that yet, and the Eagles have been able to sustain drives and move the ball, and although they haven't finished it, I think it's a very promising sign. Because even when they're not doing anything offensively, you know there's that big play possibility at any moment. Well, now not only is there that, but also they're moving the ball well. And their defense is flat out dominating.
The defense looks amazing. I haven't seen a defensive effort like this from Norristown in quite some time. Even during all of these shutouts, they've been very generous with the amount of yards they've given up in the first half. And that could be dangerous against a good team, but today they've decided to buckle down and play some football.
Yeah, in the high school game, I mean, if you want to score, you got to get pretty much got to get inside the 10.
Yeah.
It's not like the pros or college where you can kick a 52-yard field goal.
No.
So for that reason, points aren't always like the be-all end-all in terms of an indicator for how well a defense is played.
Right.
So yeah, just to go along with what you're saying.
Mark, that's a great point about how close you really do have to be an effective striking range. When we saw that 42-yard field goal that Upper Dublin kicked to win the game, I said there's no way he makes it. And 9 times out of 10 he doesn't, because high school kickers just don't do that.
I hand it off to Mayer once again. He goes up the middle into a cloud of men. And now outside, and he goes towards the sideline. Boy, he disappeared for a minute. Like a ghost on Halloween.
He disappeared outside like a ghost on Halloween. Norristown's coaches are in an uproar. They want a late hit call, but I don't think that they're going to get it.
Bring some of that basketball rivalry over here to the gridiron.
Oh, man, they're definitely bringing some of the hardwood to the gridiron today because these two teams hate each other with an intense passion.
And what's Tracy Presley's absence going to mean today, especially in a game, with these wet conditions and, where you have a chance to get a big lead? Because Norristown is the heavy favorite, and we know where they want to grind it out.
Yeah, it's odd that Presley is not.
I don't know what's going on. I really don't.
Yeah.
They hand it off to Mayer. He breaks a tackle. Now plowing over people. Gets a great block from Roby to the 20. Cuts back at the 10. And he falls for it all the way to the 5. Wow, how does he do it?
Here's a riddle for you.
There is a flag.
Oh.
I want to hear the riddle, though.
What's better than Sheldon Mayer at football? The answer is nothing.
That's good.
That's a good riddle. They'll be bringing that one back. A little editorial comment from the press box. Based on nothing except unfounded assertions. Which is, to be fair, but most of what we base our evidence on.
But boy, Norristown, of course, comes in here, 7-1 against the 3-5 Clippers of Chester. Heavy favorites, of course. And it's still 0-0. And when do you start getting worried? Because, the longer it's 0-0, or maybe it's even 7-0, if Chester hangs around, all they have to do is make some plays at the end. Tevin Campbell, we saw him on that throw down the far sideline to Nelson. This kid's got an arm. You can see why they throw it so much.
That had to put fear. That had to get Roby worrying because Roby likes to play up close, and he's going to have to stay a step or two back.
Yeah, because he has that great closing speed, and there's high school quarterbacks usually hanging up there, and he could catch up. But, boy, this kid's got a cannon for an arm, and you can't let Chester hang around. You just can't. Play action. Mayer in trouble. He's going to go down all the way back at about the 39, and there's been a great Chester pass rush anytime the Eagles have tried to drop back.
And a bad Norristown offensive line.
Howard on the sack.
Now you've got second and forever after that disheartening penalty on the Mayer run. And
Second and long.
this is the peril of not establishing your passing game. Because now if Mayer has to do it, he doesn't fall into the rhythm where he's able to do it.
Right. That's a good point. They come into the line in their usual I formation with Roby and Hill, the wide receivers. Tibbs and Dinolfi is the halfback this time. Dropping back is Mayer, throws to Dinolfi. He'll try to get some blockers, and he does. And he ends up with a nice big gain. And Antonofsky, we've seen him do a little bit of everything this year. One of those guys that's very versatile, a renaissance man, jack of all trades type of a guy, and getting it done right there.
Definitely has that renaissance man kind of thing. Da Vinci, Dinolfi, coincidence? Not at all. Two peas in the same pod. Antonofsky confesses that he likes composing songs on the lute and painting the Sistine Chapel replicas in his spare time.
So now we got a more unique formation with Battaglio lined up as a wide receiver and Mayer in the slot. They'll drop back to throw with Mayer. He steps up. He's going to run with it. Goes to the outside. There's a flag down, and Mayer's tripped up. So let's check on the marker before we...
That looks like a hold. It is a hold. That's
holding.
Well, let's see what they do, because if they decline it, it's 4th and about 3. If they accept it, it's 3rd and long. So I'd probably take the 3rd and long if I were Chester. And looks like that's what's going to happen.
Chester's got to take the 3rd and long against Norristown. 4th and 3, Norristown will pick it up. Chester's not stopping Norristown on a 4th and 3, but a 3rd and long. With that pass rush, I like their chances.
Yeah. So the ball's all the way back at the 42.5. And it's still a scoreless game. And this drive doesn't exactly look too promising. Of course, you never know when the Eagles are going to break away.
3rd and long.
Once again, they come out in a passing look with Mayer in the slot, also Roby, and on the outside, Battaglio and Hill. Dinolfi in the backfield. Dropping back is Mayer. Deep drop, trying to pick up some blocking in the backfield. He lost the ball, and Chester's on top of it. I mean, that would have been 4th down, but you're losing valuable field position now. And Chester jumps on the fumble, a sack fumble. And Shannon there has had some serious problems today with pressure in his face. The offensive line is not pass blocking.
1st and 10.
Everything about that was horrible. Inexcusable play by the Norristown offensive line and by Shannon Mayer. I mean, you give credit where credit is due, and you give blame where it should be assigned. And that one goes squarely on Shannon's shoulders.
There is an injured Chester Clipper. I believe it is Ronell Williams, the linebacker.
That's coming up at halftime.
I don't know what he was thinking on that play. I do not know what Shannon Mayer was thinking.
I mean, in his defense, the pressure is just in his face all morning.
But he had time to get rid of it.
Yeah. Perhaps on 3rd and 20, trying to do a little bit too much, maybe.
Trying to do a little bit too much.
So we're still in an injury timeout. We got 7 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the second quarter. I'm Mark Hodinski alongside Dave Fazzini. You're watching NASD TV. And as we mentioned, 3 more regular season games, including this one. The other 2 are Upper Moreland and Ben Salem. They'll go to Upper Moreland next week, and then a home game against Ben Salem in the final week. And by then, the playoff picture will be even more clear.
Playoff picture will be even more clear at that point because Norristown's going to the playoffs this year, but I think that they have put themselves. I think that this game indicates that they might have put themselves in the playoffs before they're actually in the playoffs. Their offense is not playing disciplined football. Their defense is what's making it a nothing game, but their offense, they got to step it up.
It's going to be an interesting game if these offenses continue to be this ineffective. Although the Eagles were really good in the first quarter, and now they've kind of had a disastrous drive or two, but you can forgive that.
Right.
As long as they step it up now. The Chester Clippers band piping up.
All beats so far, no real melody.
So here we go. Tevin Campbell in the Chester offense out after that fumble recovery. He throws over the middle, and it's caught, and a big hit by Denolfi, but not before Laquan Robinson catches a long pass from Tevin Campbell. And when? I mean, boy, this passing game looks legit.
Yeah, passing game looking good right there.
I mean, 1st and 10, steps back in the pocket, makes his decision, perfect timing pattern, and
32-yard line.
nicely done.
Yeah. I got to give it to him. He made a nice throw right over the middle, a place where most young quarterbacks fear to tread. But, I mean, especially receivers. I mean, high school receivers do not like going over the middle.
Yeah, and Robinson did pay the price for it as Denolfi hit him. But Tevin Campbell, one of the seniors being honored here this morning on senior day. They hand it off. And a solid 5-yard gain as a bunch of Eagles white jerseys surround Davis on the play.
They might find it going on the ground a bit rough. They might find going through the air against Norristown a little bit better than going on the ground against them.
Yeah, I mean, the Chester offense is pretty close to 50-50, and you don't see that in high school. You just don't see it.
It's a balanced offense.
155 throws on the year compared to 190 runs, and a lot of those runs are Tevin Campbell deciding to pull it down and run with it. I mean, the Eagles have thrown it 85 times and run it 278.
Not a balanced offense at all.
Yeah, and I mean, but that's more what you see in high school. But yeah, I mean, you're going to see some passing here today from Chester. They swing it out, and somebody got a hand on that. Was that Battaglio or Robbins? One of them.
It was Battaglio there, number 81, got a hand on the ball and knocked it down. Nice job by Evan Battaglio.
3rd and 7.
That was a well-executed. The little wing screen was nice because he wasn't covered coming out of the back there, number 4, Maurice Nelson. They had him coming out of the slot, running in motion, running wide. Norristown didn't have anything for him, but nice job.
I think at this point it's pretty clear Chester's going to live and die with Campbell, Nelson, and Laquan Robinson. Yeah. That's their main weapons. Milo Hill's on Laquan Robinson on this play, with Roby on the other side. So they're keeping a close eye on them, the Eagles are. Good pump fake by Campbell to fool Edwards, and now it's just thrown away. So very, very professional decision.
He did right there what Mayer should have done on that 3rd and 20, and that's the benefit of that 2 extra years of experience.
And now a flag.
Always do the best job.
So the flags came in late. Let's see what it is.
Looks like a hold. Talking to Robbins about what he wants to do with the penalty.
Intentional grounding. I thought it might be intentional grounding, but I didn't want to say anything because I thought, you know, how could that be? I thought he was outside of the pocket.
Me too.
But I guess they deemed he wasn't.
Guess not, and he's going to lose it down on this too.
So that's going to bring up 4th down.
And long.
Illegal block.
Time for one of those 15-yard punts.
But boy, I'm impressed with this Tevin Campbell kid, the 5'11" senior. Although he looks bigger than 5'11" to me, but this guy looks legit.
Norristown's defense dodges another bullet, and the offense can breathe a sigh of relief.
We saw Stokes on opening day from Northeast, and of course he's one of the bigger quarterback names in the area.
Yeah.
One of the bigger recruits. After him, I think this has been the most impressive passing offense we've seen yet. The line drive punt. It'll bounce. Mayer thinking about it. Now he decides against it.
Good thinking. That hit on Denolfi right there by number 37.
Yeah.
That should have drawn a flag.
Yeah, Denolfi and Douglas tried to sell it, but the referees did not buy.
Yeah, Denolfi wanted a flag.
I don't.
Perhaps maybe it would be an unnecessary flag.
I respect the non-call. So we got 6 minutes and change to go in the second quarter before halftime. And we've had an interesting game. Of course, Norristown heavy favorites. We expected them to come in or maybe get a big lead early. It hasn't happened. It's 0-0, even though they've outgained them by a lot. Here's Mayer to the outside, picking up some blocking, and now finally surrounded and brought down at the 20. That's a gain of about 3.
Yeah, not much there for Mayer off tackle.
On the carry.
A lot of low end going on from Chester there. Maybe a tribute to the tugboats that ride the Delaware right near us. We can see the pulchritudinous Delaware River. A lot of low-end tuba acting as some sort, I guess, sort of a call to their brothers in arms, the tugboat.
Akeem Boyd in the game right now for Roby, but even when Roby has been on the field, we haven't seen a lot of things looking his way. I thought after last week maybe they'd keep it going because it was so successful, but not yet. Mayer throws for Boyd, and he kind of slipped and was unable to make the grab.
Yeah, he slipped down. Passing game looks real out of sync here for Norristown.
Akeem Boyd has just one catch on the year, but he does spell Roby from time to time. And of course we know all about his special teams play.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, with the exception of that one, I mean, they've come up with a couple different looks, actually. They had the Wildcat with Milo Hill. They ran that 4 wide receivers to one side where they run the screen. Battalio's been at wide receiver a bunch of times. But for the most part, it's been Sheldon Mayer so far here tonight. Another intense pass rush by Chester. And Shannon Mayer's dropped at his own 10. And the Eagles offense that got off to such a great start has been stopped.
Chester these defenses came to play today. Both Chester's defense and Norristown's defense came to play. But Norristown's offense, I guess they never got on the bus. I guess they never got on the bus here. I can't explain this.
I mean, they got off to such a great start.
Yeah.
And then who knows what happened. But now they got to bring on the punt team for the first time this year. Shipping in Boyd, the Gunners. Oh, and the snap goes over the head of Hillenbrand, and that's a safety as it trickles out of bounds. And for the second time today, a snap goes over Taylor Hillenbrand's head, once as the holder on a field goal, and now on the punt. And special teams, boy, now it's 2-0 all of a sudden. That completely changes the complexion of the game. Disastrous special teams play so far here today. It's now become the main storyline.
Disastrous special teams play. Awful, awful, awful.
I mean, the punt team's been so solid all year for the Eagles.
Norristown 0.
Taylor Hillenbrand's been real solid, averaging over 30 yards a punt,
Yep.
which for high school is excellent. They haven't done much of that. Last year, again, going with the Halloween theme, last year was a lot more scary. This year it's been solid. Now all of a sudden today it's just unraveling. Maybe they're just trying to scare us because it's Halloween.
Perhaps they're just trying to scare. They're going with the whole Halloween motif. They say Chester's scary with the
Black and orange.
Pumpkiny and orange and black. But, oh man. Norristown they're frightening me right now.
And let's face it, this is a team they should beat.
By all rights, they should destroy them.
Stewart kicks off. It's a short kick. This is one of those that the Eagles could have a chance to get. But it's fielded by number 22, Damon Saunders. He's hit immediately. And Chester will start with good field position. We saw it last week a couple times against Spencer Hicken. Both teams kind of did those short kicks, not like the conventional onside kick, but they kick it high and short so that the coverage team would have a chance to get down there.
Right.
And one little miscue or well-placed kick, and the kicking team recovers. The Eagles actually did that on the opening kickoff. And kind of a similar thing there.
Norristown's defense has got to come up huge here because, again, the offense didn't do him any favors, and certainly the special teams did him a big-time disservice with that incredibly horrible snap.
I feel like the short kicks, though, are a product of the lack of confidence in, for the Eagles to kick it deep.
Yeah.
I don't know, especially with the weapons Chester has, but I don't know. I don't like it. And you do have a chance to recover it. I don't know. I still think it's just from a lack of confidence, though. Here's Tevin Campbell. Throws near side, then it's caught. No, it's trapped as Maurice Nelson trying to claim he made the catch, but the referee not buying it.
Not buying it. He short hops it in there. 2nd and 10.
But I don't think we've seen any other team throw that much on 1st and 10 in a game as Chester's done so far.
Norristown should, I'm hesitant to say it now that they should throw on 1st and 10, because now it doesn't look like they should ever throw.
Yeah, really. But the ball is at the 44. Chester's already in Norristown territory after the short kickoff.
You can't just throw on long downs, though. That's what we're learning now from Chester. Well, we already knew it, but Chester's actually putting it into practice.
An exemplar of your point.
An exemplar, yes.
Here's Tevin Campbell in the shotgun, as he's been for most of the game. He wants to throw deep, and that's over everybody's head. He's got too much of a cannon for his own good.
Yeah, he did not wield it wisely there. He threw it way over the head of Nelson. Roby got beat once. He's not going to let that happen again. He's going to be watchful because now he knows Nelson's speed.
And D'Onofrio was the closest man to that throw. Of course, it was over everybody's head. I don't think anyone's going to question his arm strength, though. It's just a question of accuracy and maybe even some decision making. But right now, you know, I feel like accuracy is the main question with him.
Questioning his arm strength at this point, that's a moot point. We already saw how.
Or his running ability, which we haven't really seen yet, but I have no doubt that we will. He drops back in the shotgun again. I told you they were going to throw a lot, and here they are. Nelson couldn't get it. Again, that lack of accuracy as Nelson was open, albeit for, you know, just on a short little hook type of a pattern.
He was short at first down, but I mean, a quarterback's got to establish that short little hook pattern before he's going to be able to get downfield. Because if he doesn't establish that short hook pattern, Norristown doesn't have to respect anything other than they just play off.
And 3 straight incompletions, and it's 4th and 10.
Both offenses look completely inept.
Daryl Davis back to punt it. He's had an abysmal game, just as the Chester offense has had. It's 2-0 Chester on a safety, in which Chester didn't even, pretty much had no part of it, as the snap just went over Taylor Hillenbrand, the punter's head. Whistles before the snap.
That was odd.
False start on Chester. That'll set him back 5 yards.
That's actually, well, I don't know if it's a good thing because their punter's so bad.
Penalty against the Clippers.
It just kind of is.
Still 4th down.
Doesn't really matter if he's snapping it from the 45 or from the 50.
There's still a flag on the field. They might want to pick that up, but I guess not. At about the 37-yard line.
Yeah.
So I guess, oh, there we go.
There we go.
I'm going to say whatever happens on this play, it's going to be a penalty.
Let's go, right.
The snap is good. The punt is good. Mayer will have a chance as it bounces right to him. Changes direction. Going up the middle of the field now. Got some blockers. And now he's finally brought down from behind at about the 40-yard line. And Mayer never really got into that second gear that we know he has. He was, you know, looking for his blocks, feeling it out, you know, trying to shift around. Never got that burst of open space.
No, and that's how he was able to be called from behind, which will rarely, if ever
if he's
happen.
running full speed, only guy who can catch him from behind is Aunt Roby.
Aunt Roby.
40-yard line.
Possibly Nelson.
Maybe. He's impressed. This Chester team has some outstanding athletes, but it's just a question of execution, discipline, and the supporting cast.
Right.
That's why they're dangerous, though, at any point, because they have those weapons. They'll hand it off to Mayer. Uses his blocking nicely and gets up to the 46.
Mayer on the carry.
Solid gain, 6 yards for Sheldon.
We've seen a lot of those today, like those Sheldon Mayer 6-yard gains.
Yeah.
You know, usually we're so used to like 2, 3, 1,
50.
0, and then 50.
Right.
But today, he had that one long run called back by a penalty. Other than that, it's been kind of consistent. So we got 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go before halftime. The clock is winding, and it's 2-0 Chester and 2nd and 5 Eagles. They'll hand it off to Mayer once again. He bounced it to the outside. Got to midfield, then backtracked a little bit, but they had so much success with Sheldon Mayer in the first half, and uncoincidentally, their offense was looking good.
Yeah.
Now Sheldon Mayer's being slowed a little bit, and the offense is as well. It's no coincidence.
Well, Chester's putting more hats on the ball now. They're grabbing hold of Mayer's jersey, and then they're getting more people to it. They're pursuing better, and they're not letting Mayer be able to cut back to the wide side of the field. So they're doing a much better job than they were in the first quarter.
They hand it off to Shippen. He powers forward and picks up in about 5 yards. He's definitely a different type of back than Mayer, maybe more similar to Tracy Presley.
Yeah. Yeah, Brandon Shippen made a nice run there, right off tackle. Nice play.
Well, so far it's been all about Eagles' mistakes. The snap over the head of Hillenbrand on the field goal. Eagles could have had a 3-0 lead. Instead, they give up about 20 yards of field position as the snap goes way over Hillenbrand's head. Another snap over Hillenbrand's head, this time when he was the punter. That was a safety. And then a fumble by Mayer on a sack. And put that one on the offensive line as much as Mayer. But boy, it's been all about the mistakes. Shippen plowing forward, still churning his legs. And Brandon Shippen comes into the game with some fresh legs and does some damage.
That's ultimately where Norristown's going to be at their best, Mark, getting fresh legs in there and continuing to power ahead. But Chester's pursuit has looked really good. They're just giving up a lot. They're getting gashed by Shippen right now.
It's just Shippen's 11th carry on the season. Came into the game with 9. And he's been good. He looks good.
He opened a lot of eyes with that fake punt, with that play.
That was crazy.
That made a lot of people a believer.
Flag on the play.
Pre-snap flag. So 1st and 15 now after the penalty. Mayer hands off to Shippen for the 3rd straight time, and this time without the same results as he is met at the line and stopped at the line for no gain.
Brandon Shippen on the carry.
Now inside of a minute to go in the first half in the Eagles offense, 40 yards away from the end zone. They got to hurry up if they want to take the lead before halftime.
Norristown's better hurry up here if they want to get something done.
Yeah, and they're trailing right now. You don't want to go into halftime, not only with no points, but losing.
And not getting the ball back the second half.
Right. That throw a little bit off target as Milo Hill battles his opposite number, Maurice Nelson, for the ball. And the clock will stop at 36 seconds to go. And the Eagles are in great danger. In fact, it's probable right now that they're going to go into halftime with a deficit. Who would have thought?
No one. No one would have thought that they'd be down in
Crazy things happen on Halloween.
Crazy things happen on Halloween. That's what like an axiomatic statement right there. Man, crazy things happen on Halloween.
Well, the rain has completely ceased, and the weather is still a factor with the wet conditions and all, but
coming up.
I don't know. This game is developing quite interestingly with the defenses completely dominating. We've seen 0 points put on the board offensively. The only 2 points on the board are from a safety. Mayer drops back, looking to throw. He has an open Hill, and he connects with him. They'll wind the clock, though, as Hill was unable to get out of bounds before Nelson hit him, so timeout Eagles.
Good throw there by Shannon Mayer, getting to the open Milo Hill. They got to get in field goal range, but do you kick it? Do you kick a field goal with all of the snaps so far having been bad?
I mean, you got to do it, but still, I mean, Fox's range is Fox's range, so you got to get into there first. Yeah. But, yeah, you certainly have to forget about all that.
Can you? Can you forget about all that?
I don't know. I mean, I think the coaches definitely can, and they could say, all right, go get back out there and do your thing. But from the player's standpoint, that's when it's harder to do.
Oh, man, you talk about the synchronized nature of football and how all elements kind of have to occur at the same time in the same way every time, and it's a carefully choreographed routine, especially the choreography between the holder, the snapper, and the kicker. It's like a dance where you have to get it just right and you have to do steps the same way each time. The choreography looks real bad today between the snapper, holder, and kicker for Norristown. It just is not working.
But first, let's see if they can get into that and make it a conversation, because it's 4th and 4 right now, and the downs right now are a bigger factor than the clock, and the clock's a pretty big factor.
Yeah.
Mayer back to throw. Flag thrown, and that ball just flails harmlessly to the ground.
Flag on the play.
I think the referee threw the flag harder than Shannon Mayer threw the ball.
Man, all over the Delaware River. Shotgunners were coming out with their shotguns from their duck blinds looking to shoot that thing out of the air.
But the penalty's declined. It's going to be a turnover on downs because it's against Norristown. The referee threw that flag with some force. But that, geez, now the Eagles are definitely going into the locker room with a deficit.
Second quarter. Chester's ball. First and 10.
The offense is going to be sat down and screamed at in about 20.6 seconds.
They got some big guys up front. Chester does. I mean, Amos Spencer, 6'5", 325 pounds. You thought Mark Robbins was big?
Yeah.
This dude is 325 pounds. And I don't think, come on now. I mean, yeah, you say 325, those weights are sometimes off. Look at him on the field.
He's pretty big.
Yeah, that's legit. That's legit.
That's legit.
Now remember, Tevin Campbell has a rocket arm, and he could score in one play just like the Eagles can. He'll throw it over the middle, and it's incomplete. He was looking for number 12, Darrell Davis. He's also the punter, but the throw's off the mark.
Yeah, that was not a very good throw.
He was open too.
He was open. A little bit of pressure there. Here comes big 78 Terrence Edwards to spell Marcus Robbins. They're doing their tackle rotation. Their tackles right now, they have Larry Smith and Battaglio in at the end, but it looks like big 78 trying to see who they got there out there at defensive line. Big Terrence is going to be the guy up
Number
the middle.
80, Najee Harris, is in the game.
Najee Harris is on the other defensive end. So Norristown's playing a prevent, like a somewhat prevent. They've got Donalfi as the deep
and more of a pass rushing kind of
field.
guys up front, like Larry Smith and all those other guys you mentioned. Battaglia slides into tackle, but they run the ball. And they pick up a lot of yardage, and was Darrell Nicholson able to get out of bounds?
Nope.
Nicholson on the carry.
Referee indicated that the clock should keep running.
But a big gain by Nicholson, but now they got to do something quick or call a timeout. Darrell Nicholson, just a freshman, 5'6", 165 pounds, but he's been a big part of this team. In fact, he's their leading rusher with 252 yards and 52 carries, but they have not run the ball much of it at all today. So, I mean, we don't even know this guy's name yet until now.
No. Now Chester calls timeout.
8.3 seconds to go. I think it's pretty safe to say we're going into the locker room 2-0. So, with as much as your defense is dominating, it's kind of sad that you have to go into the locker room and, be worried and be upset.
Yeah.
I don't know if their defense has played better all year in a half.
Their defense this has been the best defensive half in Norristown football that they have played. They have shut Chester down completely.
The one thing they've lacked is turnovers, but that's because every time Chester's had the ball, they're forcing 3 and outs or something close to that. So they haven't even had a chance to take the ball away.
No.
But, but now they're down 2-0. It's like, you don't want this to be a wasted effort.
You're not going to get a better defensive effort than this all year. This is your game. This is a statement game for the defense, and right now the offense is squandering it.
Eagles' offense, however, in the second quarter has been non-existent. In the first quarter, it was at least the earlier part of it. It was really good. Here's Tevin Campbell dropping back, trying to see how far he can throw it. Instead, he'll throw a little quick thing to Nicholson. They'll still have another play though, since that's incomplete, with 4 seconds to go. So
he heard the footsteps.
Yep. So I don't know. Perhaps they think Nicholson could break something away on a short pattern, but I don't know. At this point, with that arm that this kid has, I'm sure he could gun that ball to the end zone.
Well, they're going to do that this time.
And with
if they don't go deep now, the entire Chester coaching staff should be fired.
And if anyone's going to, complete some kind of a Hail Mary, it's going to be Tevin Campbell and his, he's got these basketball players down there in the end zone jumping up, similar to grabbing a rebound to make some kind of a connection.
Yep.
And Tevin Campbell with probably the strongest arm we've seen all year.
Yeah.
So they got the power to do it, but of course, it's always low percentage, so I wouldn't be too worried.
Well, Donalfi's certainly back. He's 30 yards off the ball.
Yeah, Donalfi back at it, near the Chester 25. The line of scrimmage is in their own territory.
There's Terrence Edwards.
So Campbell swallowed up. That's how the half's going to end. Smith, Battaglia, Harry, all the defensive line was in on that. And unfortunately, despite a dominant defensive effort, the Eagles are going to go into halftime trailing 2-0 on a safety that resulted from a snap over the head of the punter, Taylor Hillenbrand.
And as the two teams come off the field, it's 2-0 here at halftime. We will be back after the halftime festivities with stats, first half wrap-up. We'll see you in a few. I'm Dave Pizzini, and along with Mark Kolinsky, we bring you NASD football, Channel 28, Channel 45 Verizon. See you in a few.